welcome everyone to the Procrastination-Proof Podcast. This is the first episode of this podcast. I'm super excited. I am standing up because I'm so excited. I didn't want to sit down for this one. Hopefully I won't be here talking for too long, but I wanted to just make this first episode to introduce the podcast, introduce what this podcast is going to be about, why I started it, what I want to gain from it. That way, you and I can watch this video, this episode 1, years from now, and be amazed at the progress that I've made in the future. So I am Coach Turby. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of Turbo Turby Academy. I am a father, a husband. I have 4 beautiful, wonderful children, a wonderful, wonderful wife who is a stay-at-home mom and educator to these wonderful children. And I run 2 construction companies right now, or manage construction companies, and I have my own coaching business. I've been coaching for about a year. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely changed my life. I love what I do, and the reason why I still have the jobs is because I love that too. Like literally yesterday, we were able to help a woman who had her husband had just passed, and she was in a very difficult situation. And, you know, to be dealing with that and something go on in your house where her house flooded, got to go in there and tear stuff up, right? Rip up floors, put holes in walls, take out cabinets and all this stuff. And, while this is going on in your house, your spouse, your partner in life passes. So she was going through a lot. We were able to help her. So I absolutely love that I'm in a position now where I can say that I genuinely enjoy what I do, because it wasn't always like that. Right. And, before I go into my backstory, I also coach 2 soccer teams with my wife. Me and my wife coach 2 soccer teams. I have a book club that I run weekly, and it's amazing. I'm involved in a lot of other communities, and I get to help people for a living, y'all. It is mind-blowing to me. But like I said, it wasn't always like this. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. I was not born in this country, and I was raised in the Bronx. The boogie down ghetto Bronx. Yeah. So all this was not even a thought in my head while I was growing up. I was the kid who struggled to learn English. And then once I learned English, I got bullied and picked on because I was funny, and I was, sounded funny. I was slower than other kids because I didn't fully understand. And so I got picked on for that. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to be smart, super smart. So I did that. Then I got picked on for that. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be cool. And then I did that. And it's like that a transformation of things. Now I'm a teenager wanting to be cool, and I'm in the ghetto. Okay. That is a bad mix. We didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have a lot of resources. Now, I know that was God preparing me for my position now. But back then, that's not how it seemed, right? Like I was just an immigrant kid from the Bronx. And so after high school, I took to the streets. My parents pulled me out, put me on a truck with my dad. And I was on the road with him for like a few months. And I'm so grateful that they did that, because things could have turned out very differently. So after that, I went into a barbershop, learned how to cut hair, was really good at that. After a few years, ended up managing the barbershop. Then I started my own car service business, did really good, I had my first six-figure year, and then I lost it. I lost it all. I was in my early 20s, I thought I was hot. Shh, bleep. We're gonna bleep that out. And I had the wrong ideas in mind. I just wanted money and success, and my mom urged me to go to college. I went to college. As soon as I graduated, I handed her my degree. I said, I don't like this. I'm not going to be an accountant. I did an internship at a big company on 34th Street in Manhattan, and it was morbid. Everybody was like a robot going into work, and like nobody liked what they did. So that wasn't for me. So I had my business, and I lost it. I lost it all, and I had to make changes. And the biggest change that I had to make was my identity, who I was, because at that point, I got into a situation where, so before that happened, I used to call myself the master procrastinator, right? I'm the master procrastinator. I do things last minute. I work really good under pressure. I find the easiest way to get things done. That was my life from childhood to early adulthood, is find the easiest way to get things done, because time is ticking, right? So you could be doing stuff that you want to do. You don't have to do this important stuff until the last minute. That was my mentality. And so that caused so many problems in my life. And long story short, it led up to me losing my business, losing my freedom. I ended up in an immigration holding center jail for almost a year. And like, think about how that would destroy you mentally. And like, at that point, my fiance was pregnant. We didn't, it was just a lot. She had to live with my mom. There was no more money to fund me in there, a lawyer, her living expenses. We had a daughter. She was pregnant. Like I was like at the lowest of my low. I didn't even want to be alive in the beginning of it. And I remember on my birthday, I drew a cake for myself, and I cried myself to sleep. And the next day, I made the decision to change. I made the decision to become better, because that was it. Like, this is what my life had led up to. And everything in my environment told me that I was going to be deported back to DR as a deportee, which, affects your ability to get jobs and stuff. And so I said, I got to become better, because no matter where I end up after this, like, I gotta be better up here. And physically too, I was overweight, I was unhealthy, and I was just living wrong. And so I started reading a lot of books. I started reading the Bible every single day. I read through the whole thing twice while I was in there, and I still read it every day, just more focused on things that I want to read. But that led me to a journey of personal development, like for real, because in college I had read Think and Grow Rich. I had read some, not entirely, but I had read portions of some good books, but I didn't take it to heart, right? When that happened, I said, I'm going to have to be better. And then I learned that I have to continuously get better, right? So I started reading books while I was in there, working out, meditating, just working on everything that I could control, which was my mind, my body, my soul, everything that I believed. I changed my beliefs. I learned that the mind is the strongest thing that we have as human beings. As I said before, all of my surroundings gave me evidence that I was going to be deported. However, every single day mentally, all I had up here was being home with my kids, with my fiance, rubbing her pregnant belly. That was my vision. That's what kept me going. And I remember that I had the mentality of today is the day. Today is the day I'm going home. And if today is the day I'm going home, am I going to go home better? So because of that mentality, I woke up every single day thinking I'm coming back home. I got to study and get ready to be better. So I adopted that, and, almost 360, or not that much, because the first month and change was none of that. It was the opposite of that. So really dark, actually. Anyways, imagine 10 months of that every day. That will program you, right? That will reprogram anybody. So I was able to learn how to do that without fully understanding everything that I did. And as I read more, I started to understand what I had accomplished and what I had done for myself. And the more I read, the more I was able to do for myself and my family. Now, it was not easy to get to this point. Even after that, there was a 2-year span of me moving from family members to family members' homes, and sleeping in extra bedrooms and mattresses on the floor with my kids, and air mattresses. Like, it was hard. It was tough, really tough. But if I was able to do it, I know that anybody can accomplish their dream. Right now, this is not my dream house. However, this was a dream for me, to live in the suburbs with a family. And my kids have a backyard and good schools and be able to do extracurricular activities. Like, that was a pipe dream for me when I was a teenager. That was like out there. It was like on TV, they have that life. And I didn't. And I wanted that. And I didn't have it. And so I created that for my children, but it started here. So the reason why I created this podcast is because through that journey, I learned so much. And last year, I realized I have to start teaching this. I have to start sharing this with the world. I lost my father last year, and there was so much in that. There was so much pain that I had to digest and analyze, and past experiences and lessons also. And the biggest thing I got out of his physical passing is that he was able to mentor hundreds of people, hundreds of strangers called his phone. He passed a few days before his birthday, and my sister and I had his phone. And so hundreds of people calling and wish him happy birthday, and we'd have to give him the news, and they were heartbroken. So that taught me, like, he was just a truck driver. In my mind at the time, I'm like, he's a poor truck driver who raised his family right. Yes, he was a great dad, but he wasn't successful in the world. And so back then, I didn't think that was a success. Now I realize success is what you define it. That was success for him, to raise his kids in a better situation than him. He was living the success. He was living his success, right? So, what I took out of that was, like, if he could mentor so much people and impact so much people and really make a deep footprint in the world and in history, because so many people were impacted positively by what he knew. So that taught me, like, if I have learned all these valuable tools and all these valuable things that have allowed me to free my mind, to free my family, to create a better life for ourselves. Why can't I teach someone else to do it? Why can't I help someone else to do it? So that is why I started this podcast. That's why I started coaching last year. Now I want to get this information out to more people. So the purpose of the podcast is just to show everyone that you are an amazing human being and you can do anything. And by becoming procrastination proof, which so many people have been able to do throughout history, and now every single day people do it. How can everyone do it? Because once we get rid of procrastination, we'll be freed to live the way we want, right? All our dreams won't just stay up here. There'll be actions that we take continuously every day. And we will live our lives with purpose and meaning and passion and fulfillment and happiness and so much things, right? But it doesn't ever happen if we procrastinate. And I procrastinated for a good part of my life, and it destroyed almost everything for me. So I'm not the only person that have done it. There's been so many people in this world throughout history that have overcome procrastination, right? So throughout the lifespan of this podcast, I'm going to be interviewing people that have overcome, that have reached a level of success that they can look back and be proud on, so that you who are watching, you who are listening right now can understand you can do it too. You can do it too. So that is my story. That's why I started this podcast. I'm going to also obviously be teaching people how to become procrastination proof, how to eliminate procrastination, how to train your mind, how to live a better life, how to live a happy life, how to be in a beautiful state, right? How to be in a peaceful state. All these things that people have learned, that I've been able to learn, I want to teach to you. So today, I am going to share with you briefly my procrastination-proof system and how I do things and how it helps me achieve anything that I desire, and how I have helped other people. I've helped hundreds of people achieve their desires, their goals, their dreams. And it's been so fulfilling and so amazing, because a lot of times we think that because we're doing something, it's not that good, or other people can't take knowledge from it or benefit from it, because you're like, oh, that's just me. That's just how I do things. But what I found is this way of doing things has opened the door, not only for me, but for so many people to accomplish their dreams. Okay. So they're very, very simple. Like I said before, throughout childhood and teenage years and early adulthood, and even now, I have cultivated the superpower of simplifying things, the habit of making things simple for myself. And because I've been able to do it for myself, I can simplify it for you. So very simply, the entire system is 5 questions. 5 questions. Very simple. And we're going to fill them in, right? So the first question is what? What specifically do I want? Now, this doesn't have to be, this is the first time you ask yourself this. It's not like, what does my life have to end like, right? We want to ask ourselves that too. But you can use this for any little thing. Like, I remember one time we were in the hospital with one of our kids, and he was climbing on a tree. He got something in his eye, and we knew he like scratched his eye. He messed it up. He kept rubbing his eye and rubbing his eye and rubbing his eye. And so we're telling this to the doctors, and they're like, and they think he has a concussion because his eye wasn't really moving, and there's so many symptoms of having a concussion that he showed, but it was because of his personality, not because he had a concussion. So, doctors, they have to be sure, right? So they're doing all these tests, and they're scaring us, right? Because we care about our son. So like me and my wife are freaking out, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down here. Like, what do we come here for, right? What do we come here for? We came here to check him, because he's hurt. So regardless of them not knowing yet, we are in the right place, right? Like, we should stop freaking out because we're here for that. What do we want right now? We want our son to get care, and he's getting care. So why are we freaked out? Why are we unhappy? Right? Why are we stressing out if what we want is happening already? We got the goal. So what exactly defining that, in a small moment like that is important, and also in a big moment, right? What do I want out of this next day? What do I want out of this next week? What do I want out of the month, the year, out of my next decade? What do I want to accomplish, right? What specifically? That's part one. And then the second question is why? Why? Because here's the thing. When we start to do something, when we set out or set a goal, when we set a goal, challenges will happen. The first thing that we're going to be met with is not a win. It's a challenge, right? Disruption always follows intention. So as soon as I intend to do something, the very first thing that shows up is an obstacle, right? So understanding that there will be multiple obstacles along the way, how do we ensure that we can be motivated throughout the whole process to not quit? How are we going to ensure that we will get to the end? It's by having enough emotional juice to overcome the challenges, to wait if the time calls for waiting, to work harder when the time calls for working harder, right? So our purpose of doing something is going to matter so much more than anything else in terms of getting to the actual end. Because if we know why we're doing something, like nothing's, some of us have strong enough reasons that nothing will deter us from the thing that we're going after. So why is very important. And then the next thing is who? Who's done this before? Who can I learn from? Who can I lean on? Who can I ask for help? Right? Who can I model? When I started to read a lot of these early child learning and child development books, one of the concepts that were in most of them is modeling. We, as a human species, learn by modeling. We see something, or we see someone doing something that we desire to do, or someone that has something that we desire to have, and we model it. We say, I want that. I want to be like that, right? Someone who constantly sees, like, okay, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up watching Michael Jordan play, and he was the best. Everybody wanted to be a basketball player. If you were from New York, you played basketball because that was the culture. So that's what I saw from everyone. My father played basketball every week. And so I wanted to be a basketball player. Why? Because I saw it in someone else and I wanted to model it. So who has done the thing that we want? If we want to be a millionaire, who is a millionaire that has made it and that we share values with, that we can model, that we can do what they did and get to the outcome that they got, that we want, right? If we want to be a great husband, who's a great husband we can learn from? We want to be a great dad. Who's a great dad we can learn from? We want to be a champion at baseball. What are the champions that we can learn from, right? So who? The next one is the how. And a lot of times people start with this one. And that's the fourth question, right? People say, okay, I have a goal of making $100,000 this year or this month or whatever it is for you. And people, the first question they ask is, how? How do I do it? How can I do that, right? That's a very important question. You have to answer these first. But now that you know all these things, what exactly do you want? If it's $100,000 a year, okay, cool. Why? Because it's not going to be easy if you've never done it before, right? So why do you want that? Do you want to be financially free? Is it because you have a family to feed? Is there a greater purpose? What is it? What is your deep reason for that? And who has done it before? Who's made 100 grand before? Hundreds of thousands, millions of people have done it. So who specifically are you going to learn from and follow their step-by-step and follow their how, and how their how relates to you? Because yes, we want to model, and yes, we want to do things exactly like the other person, but it's impossible to be exactly precisely like the other person. It's impossible to be exactly precisely like me yesterday. For me, I cannot be who I was yesterday. Because yesterday I learned some shit, and now I am here today, right? I learned some stuff, and now I'm changed. I am who I am today. You can't be who you were yesterday, okay? So how does that pertain to you now? How are you going to do it now? What are all of the steps that you're going to take? What's the map? This right here is a huge step for me, because this is where I analyze everything. I create my map, and I really go deep into simplifying the outcome for myself. So it's important to get the how. And finally, it's when, right? When are we going to do this? When are we going to schedule each one of these steps that are in the how? When is the goal going to be accomplished? Is it a 1-year goal? Is it a 10-year goal? Is it a 3-year goal? Is it a 6-month, 6-week, 6-day? How long and when are you going to finish? When are you going to accomplish? When should you achieve each milestone? Right? All of these questions are here. When? And it's important because a lot of people, like, everybody's heard this quote, and I don't remember who said it initially, but the richest place, the most wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard. Why? Because so many dreams die there. So much innovation, so much success dies in the graveyard because people keep it up here. They don't establish when, right? If I have a 1-year goal that actually is in reality, I say it's 1 year, but it's really supposed to take me 5 years, and I don't want to come to terms with that. After 1 year, if it hasn't happened, I quit. And then what? It dies in the graveyard, usually. So we have to be specific, honest, and all of that when we determine when, and answer all those questions, right? Now, I wanted to give you this whole system because it has changed my life dramatically, and I've been able to use it for so many things. Like I remember last year, I had a client who was going through a very tough situation in her marriage. And she was actually on the brink of a divorce. And I told her, she asked me for help with that. And what I told her was that I'm not a relationship coach. However, I use this system to deal with any conflict in my life, whether it's in my marriage, my kids, whatever it is, right? So, I told her, like, if I'm having a fight or an argument and it's really bad with my wife, because all relationships have those, right? I go through this process, like, okay, what do I want right now? Do I want to have my voice heard? Do I want to simply end this argument because I think it's not important? Do I want to be good with my wife? Yes, I do. Of course, that's always one of the things, right? I want a happy wife, happy life, right? So what do I want? I don't want to be in this state of anger. Like, even if we're disagreeing, I want to be in a good state, in a good mood. I want my wife to be in a good mood. So remind myself of that. What is it that I want? I don't want to get a divorce. I don't want to end this relationship. If those things are what I want, actually and truly, then that is what I want, right? Not every relationship is meant to be saved because everybody has exes, right? I was in a long relationship before I met my wife. So what do I want from this argument? I want to make it better. Okay. I want to make it better. Why? I love my wife. She's the mother of my children. She not allows, but she helps me do what I do by doing what she does, right? We're a family unit. I can't be who I am without her. She can't be who she is without me, right? We help each other. So, we are the example for our children, right? We are the leaders of this family. So we also made a promise, a covenant with each other, right? To love each other through sickness and all the other stuff that they say when you get married, right? That's why I love my wife. So, like, why am I even arguing, right? Now, when you go through these questions, sometimes I get here, and that's as far as I need to get, right? Next, who? Who has a good marriage? Who has gone through this before? Have I gone through this before? Have I been in this fight, in a fight like this, and have I done something that has worked? And if I haven't, okay, let's figure out who has, right? I got relationships books here. I got marriage books here, right? I'm humble enough to know that I don't know everything and I will never know everything, right? So someone is always going to know more than me about something. So who knows more than me about marriage and relationship, and who can I take the information from, right? I explained to my client of a really big argument me and my wife had once, and I told her, like, I really didn't know what to do. So I went to the only source I knew. I went to YouTube. And I started looking at videos of how people fix relationships, right? And then I said, okay, how am I going to do it? How am I going to implement it? And when? Today. And then I started doing things and have an amazing relationship with my wife, right? And the amazing thing was that she was able to go through this process mentally and have such an epiphany that she saved her marriage. She did not get a divorce. She actually ended up partnering with her husband, and they started their own business. Well, he helped her start her own Etsy store. So, like, that was amazing to me. I was like, this is awesome, right? So yeah, this doesn't just apply to achieving big dreams. It applies to, if you have a dispute with someone you care about, if you're in the hospital freaking out and you need to go through this and understand what's going on right now, right? Take a step back and go through the 5-step system, right? The 5-step procrastination-proof system. Now, I will say that I didn't create none of these questions, right? We've all seen these questions before. It's just through all these years of learning and studying and studying success and studying how we humans can have a happy and fulfilled life. These are the most important things in this order. All right. So I hope that these can help you, bless you as much as they have me. And that is all, folks. All right. That is my procrastination-proof system. Obviously, there are many, many ways that I specifically get into what and why and who, and there's a bunch of strategies to go deep into these, but we don't have time right now because it would literally take weeks for me to go deep into each and every part of it. But now you know the entire system, like start using it for yourself. Okay. Now that was it. This is the end of the episode. I thank you if you have watched this far, listened this far. I appreciate you. And I want you to know that you are an amazing human being and you can accomplish anything that you desire. All right. So that being said, be blessed. I hope you have a phenomenal day. Make sure you go to youtube.com/at coach_turby, coach_TURBY. Subscribe to the channel. That's where the podcast is going to be on video, and I'll be letting y'all know where to find that on your podcast streaming platforms, right? And also, I created a procrastination-proof handbook to where I break down the most common forms of procrastination. I give you 26 tips for countering all of that, and it's free. Okay, go to go.turboturbyacademy.com/guides. That's go.turby academy.com/guides, GUIDES. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope you have an amazing day. Be blessed.